I'm Stacey Laws and I'm the head teacher at First Base in Ipswich and Bury St Edmunds. For anyone who doesn't know, we're part of the Raedwald Trust and we provide alternate provision for early years and Key Stage 1 children. So I'm not going to take a lot of your time today, but we do have a pathway change for September. So we just wanted to make as many schools as possible aware of the new pathway, which kind of children we would expect you to refer to that pathway, how to refer, so that you've got all the information. So our new pathway, who's it for? It is for pupils who you feel can be successful in your mainstream settings. So you're thinking long term, they can access mainstream curriculum, they can cope in class, they can cope with lessons, and they're going to be with you. So pupils who just need a short-term intervention, predominantly children who come to us have SEMH needs. We do support a lot of children who have traits that we would maybe align with ASD or ADHD, but often aren't diagnosed at this early stage. Children can come to First Base with or without an EHCP or a diagnosis, so that's not a limiting factor on you being able to apply. We have put in here just as a note, Key Stage 1 Engage Pathway isn't appropriate to use as a bridging placement whilst awaiting an ECNA or whilst awaiting long-term specialist. So those children who you've got who you know need more than mainstream can provide for them, where you're going through the EHCP route with the intention of naming specialist, I don't want you to waste your time referring them to us or getting parents' hopes up that they would come to us in the interim, because that's not what that aim of our pathway is for. So the Engage pathway, lots of people who have worked with First Base before will know that we were previously and currently running our Springboard pathway. So in September, we are changing over to our Engage pathway. It's a 12-week placement, and we're going to hopefully try and run set groups for a term at a time. So currently children come to us at all different points, and children will see other children in their class come and go throughout that placement. So we're hopefully going to just have set groups for each term. The big change is that children will come to First Base for 1 day a week, and that day hasn't been decided yet, so for Ipswich or for Bury. So they'll come to us for 1 day a week, and then alongside that 1 day on site with us, you'll get a lot more in-school support for the children. So you will get 3 sessions a week, and they will be 2 hours each, when a member of First Base staff will come to your mainstream school to support the child. You will also get a professional services session, which could be a staff meeting. Usually our professional services schools want that to focus around supporting positive behaviour change. So that could be with a key stage, with the whole school, with key people working with that particular child. So it is a big change for us, going from children being here 3 days a week and then just 1 hour of outreach in schools. So the rationale behind this shift is hopefully to support a more sustainable change in mainstream school for these children. So often they come to us and they're great at First Base because they're in a really small class with lots of adults, they're in a secure environment, and then what we find is that things can still be quite tricky at mainstream. So what we're hoping to do with the new pathway is to support all of you guys like on the ground with strategies, modelling, in-person to support, to get these children back in class and accessing positive learning experiences. It also gives us the opportunity to work much more closely and supportively with you guys and with your staff, and to maybe even have a positive impact on more than just the one child accessing our placement. So I just wanted to confirm here as well, so our Springboard pathway won't be running anymore. It will be this Engage pathway for early years and Key Stage 1, and this would be the only pathway that's running. So our on-site curriculum, you can see on the screen there, that's just an example of a day at First Base, what your pupil would get when they're on their on-site day with us. So currently, we use Read Write Inc as our phonics programme, and we have identified we likely won't be able to do that anymore in September, because children will be getting 4 days of their phonics programme in mainstream and only 1 day with us, and it could become very confusing. So it will be likely that we will liaise closely with mainstream schools, and just whichever sound the child is missing out learning on the day when they're with us, that we will one-to-one teach them that sound to make sure they don't have any gaps from attending with us. Our Readers for Life curriculum is kind of, I guess, what you guys probably would say is a guided reading session. So in that session, we support pupils to access a range of texts that are above their own reading level and to develop their comprehension skills. Our English lesson will focus on sentence writing, but it will be at an appropriate level to individual pupils. So we could have a reception child in our group who is labelling and beginning to identify initial sounds. Working right there alongside them, we could have a year 2 child whose objective is to add expanded noun phrases. So it will be very much at an individual level for the children. You'll see on there a few sessions of supported play throughout the day. So supported play make up our playtime, our lunchtime, and also what the children call choosing time, which is a 10-minute kind of play slot when their learning is completed. So supported play is a really important part of the work that we do. Children often, you will know, the ones who you refer to us, find unstructured times difficult and find play with peers difficult. So adults are always supporting play at First Base so that we can develop skills in sharing, turn taking, listening to others' views and ideas, and how to negotiate and resolve those conflicts that we know are going to happen. The day with us, our maths curriculum with them will focus on place value and addition and subtraction, so securing key foundational skills, but again at an individual level for the pupil. Our PSHE session will cover objectives focused on family, friendships, managing hurtful behaviour and safe relationships. And we are also a Thrive school, which I'm sure almost everyone in the world knows what Thrive is now, and you will see that when we move on to support in school that Thrive comes up there again. Throughout the placement, we're also going to offer 2 off-site trips, so anyone who has any time in the past few years had pupils at First Base know that we'd go off-site for a lot of sport and a lot of enrichment trips. And just because we're going down to 1 day a week, we really didn't want to lose that. It gives the children kind of a lot of confidence and a lot of resilience to go out in the community. So 2 of the days that they're with us will be trips. Example of in-school sessions. So like I said, you will have 3 sessions a week, 2 hours each, where a member of First Base staff will come into mainstream school to support the pupil. So that's just an example of a week of 3 sessions and what it could look like. We are well aware that we want the children in class learning, and that's where you want them as well. So sessions are going to be made up of a mixture of us supporting the children in class where we want them, accessing learning, and then also some really key intervention work with them that we know they need to be able to sustain that change long term. So Thrive, you'll see on there that there's a Thrive session each session, and we likely are going to specify that a mainstream adult can be present for that Thrive session for those 20 minutes, because it will be really important that these children are building positive relationships and connections with the adults in mainstream. And it could be that as well you could identify another pupil from class to join that session. The SEMH intervention session, we're actually still confirming which intervention we're going to use, but the one that we are looking at is based on coping theory, and there is evidence that it improves children's coping skills, social skills and emotional literacy. So all of our staff, we're hoping, will all get trained up on that one, and it has modules on feelings, communication, friendship, conflict, change and loss, and moving forwards. So during induction we would work really closely with you guys to look at what units the particular child you've referred to us needs to access and work on. So there's an induction meeting at the start of the placement, a mid-placement review, and then an exit meeting, and the professional services meeting, which I mentioned earlier, which is when we could deliver some staff training to a group within your school or the whole school, if that's what you would like us to do. I forgot to say the SEMH intervention, that is also an opportunity where we may be able to support more than just the pupil you've referred. So if the pupil who you have referred to us is going out for that intervention, it could be that we could identify 2 or 3 other children in the class and a member of your support staff possibly to go out and be part of that group, so we can hopefully have a wider reach. Referral process. So you guys will identify children who you probably have got some in your heads already, who you're thinking, I know a child who would benefit from this. So you'll discuss it as a school, you'll discuss it with parents or carers. You will then complete the Suffolk County Council Inclusion Service Referral Form, exact same form that you have been doing this year and previous years, and you'll return that to the AP inbox. The referral then gets reviewed by Raedwald Trust admissions team, and then you likely will get a call from me to have a chat about the child in a little bit more depth, and then to arrange an in-school observation. I then feed that information back to our admissions panel, and a decision is made whether the pupil is appropriate for a placement. You will get that information from Suffolk County Council, and then Raedwald Trust would be in contact to confirm dates and induction process. And then there's just an extra point on the bottom there. So if you have any general inquiries regarding any key stage or pathway in Raedwald Trust, the email address is on there for our referrals at raedwaldtrust.org, so you can ping them an email with any queries you have. So this is the last slide, and possibly the most important part. We have limited places. We have 5 places at First Base Ipswich and 5 at First Base Bury, but we do currently have a few spaces at both sites for September 25. So if you are thinking, yes, I have got a child, we don't triage our referrals into who we think needs a place the most. We look at them as they come in. I call schools, I book in observations. So get your referrals in. You've all got my email address because I sent this link, and I've put the phone number for First Base Ipswich on there. So if you have any general kind of questions or queries, if you would like to talk through a specific pupil and whether or not they're appropriate, feel free to drop me an email or give me a call. And I think that is it. So otherwise, we look forward to having a flurry of referrals over the next couple of weeks and filling up our spaces for September so that we can go ahead with our new pathway and start giving you guys some support. Thank you very much for your time and for coming.